This video is sponsored by nobody. Why would I have a sponsor on a video about an unsalaried esports team? Ronaldo signs to Al Nassr for 200 million euros per year, and he hasn't won a FIFA-sanctioned tournament. Aaron Rodgers, $35 million per year, hasn't given the New York Jets, now the saddest franchise in American football, a winning season. Some broke Balkan guys? Yep, this is a video game channel, and especially Counter-Strike, but esports as a whole provides a unique opportunity for anyone to make it from anywhere. In most sports, you have to climb a divisional ladder, playing the lower leagues, and then eventually, after grinding for your entire life, then you get a shot at the big leagues where you end up on the bench. In esports, many games allow you to make millions playing from your basement or bedroom through just a couple of Fortnite qualifiers. For example, Booga, a kid who 8 months prior was competing for $1,000 in a Microsoft store, wins the Fortnite World Cup solo and claims $3 million of prize money at age 16. In 2020, North American Counter-Strike is hit by the Valorant apocalypse, as the release of the Riot Games shooter and, well, the worldwide pandemic causes many players to pack their bags to play the next hottest thing. Organizationless team The Bad News Bears, named after a baseball movie, and led by longtime North American player Peter Gurney, would lose all of his players. Names on that lineup, Crashies, Mitch, and Dapper, would leave for Valorant, and all have very successful careers there. Peter, in addition to being a part-time poker player, would try his hand in Valorant, but quickly he would return to the Counter-Strike scene at the start of 2021 and reassemble the Bad News Bears 9 months after it disbanded. He would pick up North American players who didn't join the Valorant craze. It's like finding the survivors of a nuclear apocalypse, though, as all the talent had been wiped out. I do like writing myself into my own stories, so at the start of my commentary journey, there was a local Tier 2 tournament series that happened twice monthly, the ESEA Cash Cup. But there's something to note about this tournament. For some reason, it gave an ungodly amount of ESL ranking points to those who played in them. Those points would give you invites to the biggest tournaments of the year. And so the Bad News Bears and the ESEA Cash Cup would be inseparable. In 2021, they would win 7 of them and accrue $100,000 in prize winnings. But their organizationless social media presence, ran by volunteer managers and graphic designers, took this team from a faceless group of players to the people's team of North American Counter-Strike. Now, the Bad News Bears would not accomplish much internationally. With those ESEA Cash Cups, they got an invite to IEM Cologne 2021 and got blasted out of the tournament. I remember being awake at 3 a.m. with 150 other people in a Discord call just to watch the Bad News Bears not get double digits on a single map. They also attended ESL Pro League Season 14 and didn't win a game. They made 0 dent on the Counter-Strike competitive landscape. So why am I telling you this story? In February of 2022, the only Kosovar team in Counter-Strike history, formed from a literal group of friends who played together at LAN cafes, have been dropped by their organization. The team is searching for a tag to fly underneath, and seeing the underdog success of the Bad News Bears in North America, and drawing from their Albanian roots, go underneath the tag, the Bad News Eagles. 2 months from now is the PGL Antwerp Major. Every team wants to qualify, not just for the opportunity to play the most prestigious tournament in Counter-Strike, but also for the financial windfall that is sticker money.
Title, I swear on GoPro, 3, 2, 1, everybody,
when you qualify for a major, Valve releases stickers of teams in the game and shares the revenue with the organizations that are competing. And the kickback sometimes totals in the millions of dollars. It makes playing Counter-Strike professionally a reality. A month after flying the flag of the Bad News Eagles, Rigon, Synopsy, Juan Flatro, Soneri, and GX enter into the open qualifiers for the major. These qualifiers have a pool of competitors, sometimes breaking over 1,000 teams. And only the top 4 make the 32-team qualifying tournament, the RMR event. This year, taking place in Bucharest, Romania. And the Eagles take their first step to the major dream, placing 3rd in the 2nd open qualifier. The Eagles are going to the RMR to qualify for the major. They have rallied the support of the Balkan Counter-Strike community, but also the larger Counter-Strike world, as an unsalaried team qualifying to the major would be Counter-Strike history. But it's also not just the storyline. The Bad News Eagles play some of the most entertaining Counter-Strike the scene has ever seen. In Europe RMR B, Bad News Eagles are thrown into a pit of lions, needing to win 3 games to qualify for the major. And for future reference, every stage they play, they need to win 3 to advance. They are world number 43 and are in a qualifier with 5 top 10 teams and many other hungry squads. Bad News Eagles are not slated to do it. Their first matchup is versus Russian team Entropic, and immediately it's looking very bad. They're down 10-5 at the half. But something you cannot underestimate of the Eagles is that the score never matters to them. In the second half, they break out the steamroller and win 9 of the next 10 rounds. But something you're also going to have to get used to is Bad News Eagles, up 14-11, have the game slip through their fingers. Needing 16 to win it, it's 14-all. The Eagles get a single map point, but it's not enough. This one will be going to overtime. Get ready for a lot of this. Bad News Eagles, no matter the situation, will not play calculated Counter-Strike. They will run down their opponents.
And he starts to shatter their hopes and dreams of winning it now, but Synopsy and Juan Flatro. It's all onto the 3v2. Elian walking up, looking for a peek, but they run back towards long. Synopsy, he's got the timing on this. Charges out with the AK. Juan Flatro shuts it down for Bad News Eagles. They are wrapped in excitement because
The Bad News Eagles win their first game of the RMR. Some players are paid a salary to play. BNE with this major are playing for their careers and the love of the game. So that's the first match. Their second matchup is versus world number 7, NIP, and they're getting completely iced out. This time, they're down 13-2 at halftime on the map of Ancient. However, you're gonna always have to fear the Eagles. They've roared to life on the CT side, somehow digging themselves out of disadvantages and go on an 8-1 run. Suddenly, the game is in touching distance at 14-10. But eventually, the fire gets extinguished, and it ends 16-11. Every game shows that the Bad News Eagles play a dangerous style of Counter-Strike. It's all based off of momentum, fast-paced calls, leverage individual ability. They're like a football team that sends a big pass downfield for a striker, or for the Americans out there, they're throwing Hail Marys every single play. It's high risk, high reward, and it's beautiful. Well, their next matchup is world number 4. Why is it getting harder? G2 with the best duo in Counter-Strike maybe ever, Nico and Monacy. And Bad News Eagles, in their fashion, go down heavy at halftime 10-5. But this time, there's no massive comeback effort. They're losing 16-10. It's not a terrible scoreline for number 43 taking on number 4, and the dichotomy of an organizationless team versus G2, a multi-million-dollar organization fresh off of paying $600,000 to buy Monacy from Na'Vi. The Eagles make short work of fellow orgless team ASG and meet in a 2-2 decider versus, ironically, world number 42, Sinners. The Eagles are a best of 3 away from achieving the dream. The first orgless team to qualify for the major since 2014. And for the record, the Bad News Eagles, it doesn't matter what map they play. It just matters if they have the emotions. So both teams blow out each other on each map pick. And map 3 is Inferno. The Eagles will start the game hot as they go up 5-1 and then go completely cold. They lose 11 of the next 12 rounds and the scoreline is 12-6. But every good comeback starts with a big individual play. And terminal bottom fragger Seneri does this.
She could be massive, but it might have gone in a little bit too early. Peek off the back of it over Seneri, and he slaughters 3 of them. Seneri the scalpel makes an incision on Banana, and he wants to close it down. That's the ace.
The next round puts them on solid footing, and the Eagles are reinvigorated. Next up, they win on time, and they string together 5 rounds in a row. Sinners push back with 2 rounds, but critically, in round number 27, they run out of time on the offense, and BNE get gifted one, and they take it all the way to the house. It's round 30. To get the money to play Counter-Strike professionally, the windfall of sticker money, and to be the first unrepresented team to qualify to a major in 8 years. The Kosovars lose their mid-fight. It's a 3 versus 4. It is Juan Flatro, the sole A-site defender. If he goes down, we are looking at overtime. Juan Flatro and Synopsy have been a duo for the last 3 years, but have missed the major every single time. This one will be different. Let's etch a moment into Counter-Strike history.
Will he have a haymaker to knock out the T's? He will. Lands the right hook on Zedco. 3 versus 3. Win this round and win the ticket to the major.
No!
Big spam, but Juan Flatro closes it down. It's all on the major. He goes crazy, and so do the Bad News Eagles. They've done it, Davey.
Their reaction would go around the internet, inspiring many. Their fearless playstyle, and most importantly, their passion for the game. But this story is not done. BNE are embedded into Counter-Strike. Their stickers are in the game. But now they have to play the actual tournament. The Major. Oddly enough, their Swiss stage draw might have just been easier than the RMR. They take down Eternal Fire and Imperial while losing to 4s in the best of 1 stage, going 2-1. This sets up a best of 3 versus ENTS, a team far outclassing them as they lose 2-0. But both maps, of course in Eagles fashion, they stay tenacious and put up late game comebacks. This sets up a do or die versus MIBR to qualify for the Legend stage, the top 16 of the major. This means an automatic invite to the next RMR. So no need for 1,000 team brutality. So one thing to know about the Bad News Eagles is that they have the ability to make comebacks happen, but they can also stall out and completely choke. This exactly happens versus Made in Brazil, as they choke an 11-4 lead and lose Nuke 16-13. The next map, the Eagles are full of visceral rage as they completely steamroll MIBR on Ancient.
Shut down, tucked in tight are the MIBR boys, and Vertigo secure. 1 map in it.
Map 3 and Vertigo, though, is much less streaky. It's a back and forth, both teams tying each other up at 9 apiece. And just when you think it looks competitive, the Bad News Eagles don't look back.
To realize the Cinderella story, to find that glass slipper, and to shatter it was Cello. He's gone. It's only Woody up against an AWP. Flatro's done it, and so have the Eagles, soaring to the Legend stage. Magnificent. There isn't a human being that cannot empathize and celebrate with them. Look at their faces.
In the Legend stage, the Bad News Eagles couldn't really hang with the big dogs, but they had still made history. The first Kosovars to ever make the top 16 of a major. And they did it without the thousands, if not millions of dollars of organizational backing that many of these teams have. The Eagles have one sponsor who keeps the lights on for them. Hirafa 50, a Balkans electronics store. There is no CEO, just James Banks, part-time host and the manager of the Bad News Eagles, and a coach. They would get applause from Kosovo's prime minister as well, flaunting a Bad News Eagles jersey. However, it would show throughout the summer and into the fall that Bad News Eagles couldn't replicate these wondrous performances online. They would consistently bottom out of the online events they entered, performing far below the standard they set at the major, losing to other tier 2 teams. But no matter how bad the performance, they still had one thing to look forward to. A mandatory condition to this team's lifeblood: the major. So the Eagles return to the RMR for IEM Rio, and they are a complete wild card. No one knows what to expect from this team. The online results are middling, but everyone saw the determination, the vigor, and the energy that this team brought in Antwerp. Anything is possible. The RMR tournament in Stockholm to qualify for IEM Rio. They take a win over Eternal Fire, then lose to the Ninjas in Pajamas once again. This sets up a matchup versus Astralis. And I want to compare and contrast these two teams and the banners they fly underneath. Astralis is one of the richest organizations in Counter-Strike. This team defines Denmark. They have Glaive and Zipex, the most winning in-game leader of all time, and the Clutch Minister.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my Zipex. Clutch Minister's got a new sermon. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Both winning 4 major championships for the Astralis organization. In addition, both these players signed contracts until 2025. A new set of money in their pockets. Blame F is also on this team, who has been wandering Counter-Strike and getting paid the biggest salaries. Bad News Eagles have no contracts, but they do have a major to qualify for. It is money versus passion embodied. So watch as Astralis get their shit pushed in. The Eagles advance to the 2-1 bracket, where they falter to Team Spirit, losing 0-2. And once again, for a chance for major qualification, they are in the 2-2 bracket in a do-or-die situation versus Russian Team Forza.
Into this one, would you like to give me official predictions?
I'm gonna go with Force, because I feel like even if Bad News Eagles get the good start that they want, Force still has enough to weather the storm and potentially come back into the game.
And Kassar, what about yourself?
I think it's going to be Force just because they're a more experienced team right now.
All right, and with that being said...
Map 1 is a back-and-forth affair, starting off 7-0, but they can't keep the engine going down the stretch. The scoreline goes 7-8 at the half, and they lose.
Well-executed game plan in the end as Norway confirms it.
I was going to say the same thing. Remember, this started out 0-7. They had to mount a huge comeback to get back into this map, so really, really well done and salvaging.
Map 2 is looking just as dark. The Eagles only get 4 T-side rounds. It's 11-4. With the major on the line and the future of Kosovar Counter-Strike hanging in the balance, they win 12 of 13 rounds, complete the map win, and then in map 3, they do it again.
Entire game, 2 kills for him, putting him up to a total of 28 and 11. It's all on Norway to keep this one alive. And the Flames in front of him knows the situation well. They'll cross toward the site and plant the bomb, making it even more problematic. Synopsy closes it, and the Bad News Eagles in an absolutely dominant fashion on Mirage are going back to a major, this time in Brazil.
Yeah, and this time not as a Cinderella story. This time as a team that needs to be respected. This time as a team that you need to look at. This time not as just a surprising run, but a well-earned path.
For the second time, a team with no backing, a single sponsor, a coach, a manager, with a volunteer social media team have qualified to the major. Landing once more in the opening stage, the Eagles blast through 3-0, not dropping a single map in the process.
They made some plays. we were not that ready for that, but it's fine. It's fine.
Se unë ty të zgjodha, më të mirën shoqe, që ti ke parë. Now, I'm going to take all of you while I got you all here. I want you to talk a little bit, though, about just what you've had to go through, not having the organization, all the extra things you had to do, the visa process, just how hard, because it's a very different scenario to what many teams went through.
Yeah, it's actually very true. We have to do everything ourselves. We did the visas like we had the whole week to do that on our own. I handled all the managing with the tournaments, daily stuff, stuff that the normal manager would do. You know, just small stuff, and it's very hard. And I'm hoping we get a good organization. We're showing everybody now that we deserve it. Like, give us a support and we'll do even more. Like, I don't know what to do anymore, to be honest. Something else to say as well. People doubted us in the beginning. They said we wouldn't last 1 month when we left our old organization. Look at now, after 8 months. Look how we're doing, guys. No, it's not a fluke. It's definitely not a fluke. It's hard work, persistence, consistency. That's the keywords.
The keywords, it all paid off. Let's get ourselves back to the desk.
However, in the Legends stage, the difficulty gets cranked up. 13 of the world's top 15 teams have made it to this stage. The Bad News Eagles are completely out of place here. And the opening 2 matches, they immediately get slaughtered by Spirit and Ents. 2 teams they just love playing, huh? And immediately drop to the 0-2 stage, facing elimination 0-3. An embarrassment to happen in a major. They meet versus world number 1, FaZe Clan. FaZe got upset by Cloud9 16-14, and they matched up versus Vitality, who also got upset. So now you would think this would be a walk in the park for FaZe Clan, world number 1. But they have just been handed the most dangerous team in Counter-Strike. And it's fun to take a bird's eye view, to look at both teams and notice how they play both extremely similar momentum-based playstyles. It's FaZe Clan versus a miniature version of themselves. I welcome you to the greatest 0-2 elimination game in Counter-Strike Major history. I present world number 1 FaZe Clan versus world number 23, the organizationless, the proud, the Bad News Eagles. Map 1 is a slugfest. FaZe Clan allow Vertigo, their permaban, to be picked by the Bad News Eagles. And despite the Eagles finding map point first off of a miracle eco round, they are dragged into overtime.
FaZe weather the storm, overtime secure. And a small smile creeps on their face as they know the hard work is not done.
But the mental reset allows the Bad News Eagles to wake up, and they close the map. The first shock is sent through the Counter-Strike world.
Going early. First one frag found. Not ready for the repeat. Dropping the smoke, and there it is! Bad News Eagles, not FaZe, down a peg. Take Vertigo and have the opportunity to make FaZe sweat further.
The team that is on the verge of having the most successful year in Counter-Strike history. The reigning major champions, winning IEM Katowice, ESL Pro League, and IEM Cologne, are a single map away from last place and the end of a dynasty. Nuke is FaZe Clan's map pick, and I'm not going to stick around here. It's one-way traffic. And that brings in map 3, Mirage. The intensity of a map, but most importantly, the storyline that is literally the baseball movie the Bad News Eagles name is framed upon. It's the power of friendship versus the world beaters. But the baseball movie is looking dead in the water. It's 11-4 at the half, and even after a pistol round and some early success, it's 15-10. A single round away from the Bad News Eagles going 0-3 again. And I mean, it's obvious. FaZe Clan will have 4 of their 5 players in the top 20 of 2022. Bad News Eagles will have 0. FaZe are a world-class team who have already won millions in prize money this year. Bad News Eagles are a group of guys who met at a LAN cafe and played some games together. But who doesn't love a good Counter-Strike story?
And 5 rounds in a row. Rain 10 HP, there's no way. There is absolutely nothing he can do because the Eagles keep us in overtime.
By a miracle, they've done it. They've won 5 rounds consecutively against world number 1 with their backs up against the wall. They've gotten into overtime and they're playing unbelievably aggressive, just headshot them LMAO Counter-Strike when facing elimination. So Bad News Eagles strike another set of match points again. It's 18-16, but FaZe quickly rip it away from them, sending this 0-2 elimination game into double overtime. Do or die. So, Bad News Eagles get a miracle 2-1 split, but FaZe absolutely power through in the next round, which sets up a 20-20 scoreline. The first to hit 22 will win. At the start of round 41, one Flatro gets one in middle, 4 versus 5. Now, most teams would fall back and play the man advantage. The Bad News Eagles are not most teams.
Gonna follow suit as it's Synopsy going wide for it. Still a gap, not for long. Rigon closes it immediately. Foul, missed shot. That's the end as Flatro recovers it. 21 secure.
Bad News Eagles, another chance to eliminate FaZe. And so, round 42 begins with Synopsy, the Eagles' top fragger. For getting a gun in spawn, Twist finds a lurking kill into B, and this prompts FaZe to abandon their plans and move the bomb to the B site. So Synopsy, the guy who forgot his gun in spawn at the start of this round, without a second thought, jumps into the enemy backline. Welcome to a moment in Counter-Strike history.
Perhaps heard Twist is on short side. Maybe not. Looking, bomb, lost. No, FaZe Clan need a hero, and Twist might just be that man. No, they might check him. Spotted out, Scenari reacts. Oh no, it's only Carrigan. Is this really happening? FaZe Clan demanding a 1v4 from Carrigan or they're out. Painful finish, Carrigan 2 to find, and they're out. Unbelievable. Bad News Eagles are the bearers of bad news for FaZe. On the second day, they're escorted out of Rio.
Now, the Eagles would exit the major to Nadas Vincer, but BNE still won over the minds of the community again. They got their major, they got their sticker money, and they beat FaZe Clan. What more could you want? But the same cycle happens again. For the next 6 months, the Bad News Eagles struggled in online competition. But hold on, I got a phone call. It's me. The Blast Paris Major. The Paris Major is the last one of Counter-Strike Global Offensive. And it's also the one with the Nacho Cheese Dip Trophy. Going into the major qualifier, they lead off, going up 2-1 in the best of one stage. But they're a little shaky versus teams the Eagles are expected to beat. So to qualify for the major, why are these? Oh my god. Bad News Eagles face off versus FaZe Clan to qualify for the major. At the time, FaZe are world number 2 after winning ESL Pro League Season 17 literally a week ago. All the Bad News Eagles see, however, are 5 profile pictures at the top of their screen.
Him from confirming the spot in Paris. A major is there. The Paris Major for Bad News Eagles locked in. This team have done it again.
It's so funny how a rivalry can brew versus a team that is ranked in the top 5 year-round and a team that's not even in the top 20. With this win, the Bad News Eagles place high enough in the RMR to automatically qualify for the Legend stage. Immediately, they face off versus number 9, ENTS, and get blasted. And by some piece of insanity, again, they meet up versus world number 4, G2, with their $1 million lineup. Again, this team had just won IEM Katowice a few months earlier. And in this best of one, it starts off with Nico totally annihilating them. They're down 10-5 while G2 are basically hunting them for sport. G2 have the most powerful duo in Counter-Strike, Nico and Monasi. The Bad News Eagles have the power of friendship. That might be enough.
G2 running out of options, that clock ticks. And with every second condemns them to a loss of sleep and a loss of the game. The Eagles, from 10-5 down, take down G2. One of the biggest names in attendance at the Blast TV Major.
In the 1 and 2 bracket, the community sees the Bad News Eagles draw And they already know, like a thronging crowd cheering on gladiators, it's gonna be bloody. Bad news, Eagles take on FaZe Clan again. And map 1 begins with systematic annihilation. 16-3 on FaZe's map pick, and the Eagles are soaring. Map 2 of Mirage is a 9-6 lead for FaZe, however, and it balloons to 14-9. But after a stifled round that ends in a save, and then a retake, you know it's really happening when we're doing this.
They execute. They could do this. If they get the kill on Scenario right away, they can actually run down the bomb site. GXX is good for the first one. Oh my god! No way! A flick, he takes down Twist. He continues. Call him GXXX because he's broken him down. Oh my god! It's an ace with an AW.
Bad News Eagles have won 6 rounds in a row. They reach series point to eliminate FaZe Clan. They're up in a 2 versus 3 until they get handed a Dream Destroyer.
Massive Twist tries to look for it. It's on Robs here. Low from the earlier spam. He needs another good headshot. His teammate's too far away here. And he's got to be careful. Yeah, there is a flank coming in. And Synopsy, he snuck onto the bomb site. 15 seconds. They're almost out of time here. Nice shot from Robs. He's back into it. He's got the triple. He wants to keep the dream alive for his team. And GXX, the only one that can stop it. It's Brokey to get them into overtime. But Robs, when they needed him the most, he stepped up.
FaZe Clan exhale. It's going to overtime. And despite going up on the 2-1 split, they lose 3 rounds in a row and lose Mirage 19-17. And it looks like the Eagles are done for. Map 3 of Inferno, FaZe Clan totally sliced through the defense. Rops is 19-4. They're down 12-3. But then there's hope. A pistol round, a first gun round, and now it's a save. FaZe punch back 1, 13-6. But the Eagles are still powering up. With some brilliancies and ridiculous shots, they're in the game. Down 14-10? It's the fucking Bad News Eagles, baby. Did you ever doubt them? It's 14-14 in a map 3 decider. But then it feels like time slows down. We actually made the comeback happen twice? Come on, guys. It's just another comeback. The dream is dead. So many close games, the most entertaining Counter-Strike you have ever seen has come to a close. The Kosovars have been eliminated from the Blast Paris Major and from Majors. For good. The Bad News Eagles didn't win the biggest tournaments ever, but they did win over the mind of Counter-Strike. They are the most influential, unsalaried team ever. Just a group of friends from a tiny country living the Counter-Strike dream and enjoying every second of it. But what BNE showed us is play for passion over the paycheck and love what you do. Thanks for watching.